Chair Yellen, the first question I have is with respect to the 2% inflation target that was adopted several years ago. I must admit, as an aside, a back-of-the-envelope calculation tells me that nominal prices will double every generation. I'm still trying to figure out how that is commensurate with price stability, but that is not my question. In a recent press conference, some interpreted comments that you made to indicate that you were open to an increase in the inflation target. Are you pursuing an increase in the inflation target? Are other members of the FOMC, is this a matter of discussion within the FOMC to increase the 2% inflation target?
It is not. We reaffirmed our 2% inflation target in January. We are very focused on trying to achieve our 2% inflation target, and it is not a subject of discussion.
Thank you. I will take no for an answer. As you heard in my opening statement, I remain concerned, as do other members, about a blurring between the lines of monetary policy and fiscal policy, specifically credit allocation. We feel that ultimately this could impede upon the Fed's independence. Professor Marvin Goodfriend, who I think you may be familiar with, of Carnegie Mellon, gave what I thought was an instructive distinction between monetary and fiscal policy. And he said, quote, monetary policy does not favor one sector of the economy over another. And monetary policy does not involve taking credit risk onto the Fed's balance sheet. By contrast, he went on to say, credit policy works by interposing the government's creditworthiness, the power to borrow credibly against future taxes, between private borrowers and lenders to facilitate credit flows to distressed borrowers. Fed credit policy involves lending to private institutions or acquiring non-treasury securities with freshly created bank reserves or proceeds from the sale of treasuries from the Fed portfolio. I guess my question is, Chair Yellen, do you agree with this distinction? And if you don't agree with this distinction, do you feel that credit policy is commensurate with your congressional mandate?
Well, the FOMC in its principles for normalization of monetary policy has clearly indicated that it intends to return over time to a primarily Treasury-only portfolio, and that's in order not to influence the allocation of credit in the economy. That said, our purchases of mortgage-backed securities took place after a financial crisis when the market for mortgage-backed securities was not working at all well, and I believe it was appropriate, but we have endorsed the principle
I understand that,
returning
Chair.
to a Treasury portfolio.
Yellen, so do you or do you not associate yourself with Professor Goodfriend's comments? Is that a useful distinction to you as he articulated it?
I think it is a useful distinction.
It is my understanding that the Fed can legally purchase student debt guaranteed by the federal government and municipal debt that matures in less than 6 months. Is that your understanding as well?
I'm not sure about student debt. We're able to purchase Treasury and agency securities.
Has the FMOC ever discussed the possibility of either purchasing student debt or municipal debt?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, finally to end this part of the questioning, am I led to believe then that your balance sheet reduction will allow you to return the Fed funds rate as the primary policy instrument instead of reserves, instead of interest on reserves? Is that my understanding from your testimony?
Well, we are reliant on interest on excess reserves as our key tool for setting the federal funds rate. So that is a key instrument of monetary policy. But what I said is that we intend to rely on adjustments through interest on reserves to our Fed funds rate target as a means of regulating credit.
My time is rapidly winding down, perhaps not in question, but a request. I was very heartened to see in your report a comparison of Fed policy with a number of policy rules. I think this is very helpful, Chair Yellen. I would say, though, that in some respects, your report says how the FOMC differed from these policy rules, but it did not say why. In order to give the broadest amount of information to the markets so that people can plan their lives, I would simply encourage you to perhaps even go further and discuss how, not how, but why the actual FOMC policy differed from these policy rules. I think that would be very encouraging if you would have a brief comment on that.
So let me just say I'm very pleased that the committee found the material on rules useful, and we look forward to working with you to provide further information that would be useful to the committee.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.